In a world still abuzz with unanswered questions about UFOs and shadowy conspiracies, Elon Musk has stepped into the spotlight in a way that has already provoked intense debate and global curiosity. This isn't another app or a flashy gadget, according to the narrative we're unpacking. Musk's latest project is a tangible, operational craft that looks and behaves like what most people would call a UFO. The implications are enormous. Did he really go against U.S. government constraints? What exactly does this platform do? And how did it come to be deployed in a place as symbolically charged as Jerusalem, with involvement from major institutions such as NASA? Join us as we pull together the known claims, the dramatic accounts, and the technical assertions surrounding this mysterious vehicle which, for the sake of clarity, we'll refer to as the X-1. The story begins with Musk, A-L-L-E-G-E-D-L-Y, pouring years of effort and hundreds of millions of dollars into this secret program. He is said to have recruited top aerospace engineers directly from SpaceX, forming a team capable of turning a radical idea into a real, flyable vehicle. That vehicle is presented not as a simple novelty, but as a technological milestone. An aircraft claimed to achieve hypersonic speeds in the ballpark of 4,600 miles per hour while using far less fuel than comparable craft. The text credits much of this leap in performance to a propulsion system adapted from space shuttle launch technology, a compact engine refined for atmospheric flight that dramatically raises the craft's capabilities. One of the more sensational claims about the X-1 centers on its electromagnetic weaponry. The vehicle allegedly carries a high-powered microwave system, described here as potent enough to disrupt electronics and even affect people within its area of influence. At full strength, this system is said to melt or incapacitate electronic equipment, turning enemy aircraft into smoking wreckage. When its output is dialed down, the same microwave array purportedly induces extreme and incapacitating pain in human targets, a scorched skin sensation that would force personnel to flee vehicles or positions. That capability, if true, would represent a significant shift in how force can be applied on the battlefield, a non-kinetic method of neutralizing both machines and manpower, without relying on conventional munitions. Beyond its offensive repertoire, the X-1 is described as possessing near-magical stealth and camouflage features. Engineers purportedly developed a specialized outer cladding that not only reflects radar waves to evade detection, but also visually blends the craft into its surroundings so convincingly. The text claims that from the ground it appears to be an ordinary cloud. This optical stealth, combined with radar-evading materials and signature management, is credited with enabling the X-1 to operate undetected in airspaces that would otherwise be monitored closely. Adding to its elusiveness, the craft is said to climb to extreme altitudes, as high as 105,000 feet levels, previously associated with reconnaissance aircraft like the SR-71 Blackbird. But unlike those older platforms, the X-1 allegedly combines altitude, speed, and offensive capability into one package, enabling it to get in, strike, and return with minimal logistical support. Such a groundbreaking project could hardly escape the attention of governments. According to the narrative, the Pentagon detected the X-1 as an unidentified object in scrambled interceptors. Public headlines leaped to UFO encounters. But the truth, according to sources in this account, was that U.S. Defense Forces found themselves confronting an aircraft whose performance surpassed existing fighters. The result was immediate friction, a new kind of technological Cold War where a private entrepreneur's innovations challenged established national defense prerogatives. Tensions escalated to the point where the U.S. House of Representatives reportedly launched regular inquiries into Musk's influence and intentions. Concerned about the degree to which one individual and his companies could shape global affairs, Musk's own statements in at least one long-form interview with a major outlet are presented as simultaneously defiant and pragmatic. When pressed about the role his products and services play in geopolitics, he didn't back away. Instead, he suggested that his work could be strategically useful in conflict. Acknowledging the military potential of the technologies he and his teams develop, That candidness only amplified worries among legislators and defense leaders, who saw a private sector titan blurring the lines between civilian entrepreneurship and the manufacture of strategic weapons. Technically, the X-1 is painted as an almost uncanny hybrid of space and atmospheric systems. Its propulsion, a miniaturized space shuttle-derived engine, is said to grant the craft blistering acceleration and long-range reach while consuming significantly less fuel than conventional engines. A claimed 30% fuel reduction compared to present designs. This efficiency, combined with hypersonic velocity, supposedly allows the X-1 to engage a target and exit the area faster than any interceptor could arrive, making traditional air defenses and fighter responses obsolete. The speed and altitude functions are not just for show. They are defensive measures too. Fly high and fast enough, and you place yourself beyond the effective envelopes of many surface-to-air weapons. Move quickly, and you avoid being caught by slower defensive platforms. The X-1's microwave weapon system merits special attention because it blends new and old concepts in warfare. Directed energy weapons are not wholly new, but the way they're characterized here is unsettling. Full-power microwave emission, the text says, can literally melt avionics and render modern aircraft helpless. At lower intensities, the same beam causes extreme thermal sensations in human tissue. It's enough to force rapid evacuation or incapacitation. Such effects would make the X-1 uniquely adept at neutralizing not only machines, but also human operators, providing military planners with a tool that leaves infrastructure intact while compelling surrender or retreat. This sort of capability would be a massive force multiplier for any actor that obtained it first. The account further claims that armed forces could use the microwave system to disable electronics across a wide area, effectively turning a battlefield into a landscape of inoperative machines. In urban or mechanized warfare, where electronics coordinate movement, targeting, and communications, that sort of disruption would be catastrophic for the side on the receiving end. The X-1 is presented as being able to operate both as a precision instrument for surgical strikes and as an area denial tool that sweeps through systems, disabling them. Wholesale political fallout was inevitable. The narrative suggests that as soon as the U.S. government decoded the existence and potential of the X-1, fierce contest over control and oversight began. Military and legislative leaders reportedly bristled at the notion that a private billionaire could unilaterally field hardware that so dramatically altered strategic balances. The decision to publicize or deploy such a craft, particularly if done outside of established procurement and oversight channels, would have profound implications for sovereignty and the established order of military technological development. Part of what made this story so combustible was where the X-1 appeared: Jerusalem. The involvement of NASA in the account adds another layer of complexity and international intrigue. A NASA connection suggests institutional legitimacy, or at least cooperation with a federal agency, making the story harder to dismiss as mere bravado. That the craft was seen in the skies above a politically and culturally charged city introduced immediate diplomatic questions. Why there? What mission could justify such a place and time? Was it an intentional demonstration with geopolitical signaling in mind, or an operational necessity driven by other priorities? The narrative leaves room for both practical and symbolic interpretations. Details about the aircraft's outward design emphasize a departure from conventional silhouettes. The X-1 is said to resemble a classic UFO in popular imagery, ambiguous, it's nondescript, and capable of shifting its visual profile to mirror clouds. The stealth cladding was described not simply as radar-absorbing material, but as a composite that manipulates optical perceptions, rendering the craft visually indistinct against variable sky conditions. The combination of visual and radar stealth produces an effect that, for any observers on the ground, blurs the line between natural and manufactured phenomena. Supporters of such a program, as presented in the text, would argue that innovation rarely fits neatly into old frameworks of governance. If private capital and entrepreneurial risk-taking can produce systems that outpace bureaucratic procurement cycles, then there is potential military and strategic value in enabling such actors to experiment and innovate. Critics, however, See a dangerous precedent when the creation of asymmetric capabilities migrates from state-controlled research to privately financed ventures. The checks and balances designed to prevent misuse of force become fragmented. This is the heart of the debate. The narrative sketches a modern dilemma about who gets to build and deploy what, especially when those things can change the calculus of conflict almost overnight. The story also nods to historical precedents like the SR-71 Blackbird to frame the X-1's capabilities. The Blackbird, famously fast and high-flying, was an intelligence-gathering workhorse that relied on altitude and speed rather than heavy armament to survive. The X-1, by contrast, is described as a craft that merges, though,